there, my name is HW, and thank you so much for watching Tone Junkie TV. My friends, we're talking about ambient tones, ambient verb in the Kemper, how to get it, how I approach it. There's a lot of ways to approach this. There's no rules. This is really about mixing together like a lot of effects and seeing what comes out. You could get crazy. I'm not going to get too crazy, but I am going to show you how I get Sunday morning-ish, reverby, big, atmospheric type sounds that I think are really useful in a lot of types of music, for ambient stuff, for Sunday morning stuff. Here's what I think the secret is for me. Here's a sound I go for, and I think the Tone Junkies kind of agree on this. Delay, delay, verb. It's delay, delay, verb, and here's why. I want with my delays to create a pattern, a rhythmic pattern, not for the purpose of hearing the pattern, but I want to create some messiness and some pull, some extra long feedback, because I want to take those delays and everything they're going to do, and I want to use both those delays into each other so that I can then take all that rhythm and I can take that mess of repeats and I can wash it out with a verb. So I can just sort of smear it. Because I want the sensation that I'm somewhere else, not in this world. Let me show you something really interesting, or just really cool that you probably are aware of. Our brains and our ears give us an amount of information from hearing our own voice that is really something maybe we don't appreciate all the time. So if you just take your hand and you put it right in front of your mouth like this, you can hear that. You can hear that my mouth is in front. You can hear your own hand in front of your mouth. You can hear when the room is very big or very small. This sound gives our feedback to our brain in a way that informs what environment we're in. We can hear if something's echoing in front of us. We can hear if something's very close to us. That sensation, or rather that information, creates a sensation. And it's why atmospheric music seems so otherworldly. Our brain is receiving feedback that we don't normally get in the natural world, in a natural environment. Especially with all these new reverb machines and all these pedals, we're getting a type of reverberation, something our brain is used to hearing, but in a way that we've never heard it before. And so we hear it as spacey, atmospheric. We hear it as otherworldly, heavenly. Some people liken it to how you would sound under the influence of some narcotic or something. I mean, that's a type of thing. We're really fooling our brain into experiencing something it knows is not true. It knows is not real, or it's not well versed in. So that's interesting when you think about that's application in music, because we're trying to, with music, to take someone somewhere, to say something, to get them to feel something. And so having that verb really becomes like a 3D panning, or even a pull you out of the room you're in and take you somewhere else type of effect, because we hear these verbs that are just not natural. I mean, the greatest verbs that human beings could achieve is something like Carnegie Hall, something like a giant cathedral. And you can think of the effort it takes just to produce that amount of reverb with a physical structure. It's incredible. Okay, what does that mean for the Kemper? Well, it means that my personal favorite is to go delay, delay, natural reverb. Now, so let's try that out. So let's go delay, delay. Now this is the 66 AC Top Boost B3 profile, and it sounds like this. It's great. It's a 66 AC 30. And on the bright channel, and it sounds really good. I really dig it. And this is a 66 Trini Lopez, and I really dig this guitar. Yep, killer guitar. Okay, so delay, delay. I'm going to use one delay in front and one delay in back, not because you have to. I often use two delays in the back, but I just have it set up for that right now. And if you have this profile or you want to try this on your own, a lot of Tone Junkie profiles have been coming this way lately. So let's take our second delay and let's take a look at it. What we've got here is an eighth note delay, and it's not doing much. It sounds like this. Very soft. Okay, First of all, everything we talk about today is going to be more than 50% mix, less than 100 mix. So we want to really hear that delay. I'm even going to up the feedback a bit. I'm going to leave it at an eighth, and that's all I'm going to do. Cool, very cool. Now I'm going to come take my first delay, first in the chain, and I'm going to look at it, and oh, it's a dotted eighth. That second one was an eighth. This one's a dotted eighth, and I'm going to up the mix. And yeah, let's up the mix to about 70 something. Feedback is fine. And now, so the dotted eighth going into the eighth sounds like this. We're getting this galloping effect. Why? Well, we've got our guitar signal going into a dotted eighth, and that's going to repeat at a subdivision. And then we've got a second delay trying to repeat the guitar signal and the eighth delay at its own subdivision. So we start to get this galloping. It gets messy, it gets crazy. It's all these sort of polyrhythm things in there. Well, not polyrhythm, subdivisions, right? And they start to really go to some awkward places as they're repeating, because we have an eighth repeating on a dotted eighth, and so we get into things. We get into 5/16s and 7/16s and all sorts of things like that. So let's try changing the value of this second delay and see what that does to our gallop. I'm going to change it from an eighth to a quarter. So we've got now a dotted eighth going into a quarter. We've got this cool thing, right? Now, what could you play with that? I mean, it's difficult to play the guitar with that. Let me turn off the reverb. It's just, I don't know what to do, right? You have to like almost play to the rhythm. It's very limiting. It's very difficult. So what are we going to do? I want to take away all of that definition. I want to hear all that mess, but I want to feed it through a reverb so that I lose control. I lose the place I'm in, and it just becomes a giant world. Now, one trick I want to give you, hit rig, make sure this delay and reverb routing is at 0. I often set it, sometimes when I'm just playing with effects, I like to divert some delay around the reverb. And for me, that just becomes like an easy to use mix knob. I don't always intend for the profiles to have that in it, but I do enjoy it sometimes. If you don't like it, just look on a Tone Junkie profile. You might see it in there on some packs. Lately, though, it hasn't been that way, but you might still see that from time to time, that I'm actually sending some delay signal around the reverb. And so that means you have to run the reverb higher to get more reverb, and you'll always have some dry signal coming through. I like that. It's another technique we'll get into at another time, but now let's get a real spacey verb. But I don't want to get too crazy. I want to just go pretty simple ambient, how I approach it. I want to put my guitar in a space. So what I want to do is I want to come right here and I want to select natural verb. That's the natural verb algorithm. And I want to select, well, let's go for ambience, because we're after ambience, aren't we? So there we go. We've got ambience. Now, what they mean by ambience is there's a little bit of ambient feedback in the room. Look how small the room is and everything. What I mean by ambience is I want to be in a concert hall. Yeah, that's beautiful. Now, I want to make this a little better for me. I want to really make it big and ambient, so I'm going to up this mix to about 80. I don't want to go all the way. I want my guitar to be louder, than this thing. And this is, I really want the reverb to start getting in the way of my guitar, and then I'll show you how to fix that. I want to take my room size and I'll leave it at 5. My decay time will make it a little longer. Pre-delay. Here's a tip. Run that pre-delay up. It's going to give us some space between when the verb comes in and when the guitar starts to play. And that's going to, or when the verb comes in from when the initial note is hit. That's going to give us a little bit of space, and it's not going to make our delay or our reverb really jump on our guitar as much. So I'm going to up that to like 120. Just leave it above 100. Try different things. 120, 125 is where I always go. Now let's leave that. I've got my 2 delays, my long stuff. Everything's feeding into a big reverb now. Check it out. Now, in that reverb, there's a lot of high-end information, and to me, it doesn't sound very good. So what I want to do is now darken up this verb, because I'm also playing a bright guitar. Well, these are patent sticker pickups. They're brightish, but I'm playing a bright amp for sure. So I want to come in here to my verb first, and I want to high cut my verb. So I'm going to bring it all the way down to 2000, 2100 hertz. Let's try that. Still a bit much, so I'm going to push the high decay up. I'm going to cut this a little lower, this high cut. See how we're getting a darker sort of thing there? I'm also going to, I'm going to come back here in my delays, and I want to do the same thing there. I'm going to tell my delays, hey delays, let's darken yourself up. Let's really do this the right way. I might even make this a little grittier. Add a little flutter rate, a little flutter intensity, just to modulate it up a little bit. But mainly, I want to high cut this stuff. So I'm going to high cut everything because I want the repeats to be relatively dark. Okay, we did a lot there, so I'm actually going to allow a little bit of a high cut back in the verb here. Okay, and now I've got a bright guitar. That's something I really enjoy, the combination of a bright guitar and that darker verb. Now I can, one more thing I'm going to do because I just want to make it a little bit more crazy. I want to take my second delay here and I want to just, I want to up this reverb mix so I get a little reverse mix and get a little reverse delay. And I've got a lot going out of there. I might still, like I could take a little more high end here. I may have darkened it too much. So let me back off a little of that high cut there. And let me back off just a little of that high cut. I do want some fidelity. Yeah, here we go. This one was cutting really a lot. I don't really want it below 2000. So, and I know that's high, but we don't need high end. We just want some, but we still want some brightness. I'm going to add in a little chorus. I'm going to add in, whoops, I cut the low end there. Little flutter rate is okay, modulation. You're not going to hear a lot of this stuff, but it's all together going to start to make a difference. So back toward delay, or reverb, excuse me, and let's try this. See what I did there? I darkened up my neck pickup. And that, to me, is something I do under someone speaking in a Sunday morning, or maybe it's something I just do for atmosphere if I'm playing a song or something. But it's a really useful trick because you start to lose the attack of the note and you have this already dark thing. So we have the ability to really remove all the brightness from our guitar. Once again, you can see that right here. That's a trick I really like to use a lot, and just with the flick of a switch, you can go down to a bridge, you can go to a soft part of a song, and then just by bringing the volume right back up, or I'm sorry, the tone right back up, you're right there. And there's a subtle thing too here where if you use your pick, you really get more attack, but if you use your fingers, well, that's how I do it. Delay, delay into a very washed out verb, a darker verb than my guitar. Leave the guitar bright, leave this, then get all this messiness, put some reverse mix in there, and then go ahead and get a really strong reverb. And, from there, then I have all the options to darken up or lighten up my guitar, play with the attack of the pick or my fingers, and there you go. You've got some ambient music. So, I've been HW. Thanks so much for watching. Say goodbye, Ollie.
Bye.
HW and Ollie. Out.
I don't even know how to do the 5.
Can you do a dap?
Bye. Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Thermos.
Thermos who?
There must be a way to tickle your funny bone.
I guess he found it.